I'm going to try to be as brief as possible. It came to our attention in November 2019 that the African American community was being robbed at a disproportionate amount of tax dollars for the money that they pay into the police department. And what we found, because I have a TV program called the African American News for 28 years, and I've been here many times, what we found was some of the most unbelievable accounts of police misconduct for people who pay taxes. Consequently, I was going to do an undercover operation and expose these rogue police officers in the 1st Precinct. And I contacted our legislator, Kawan Abrams, and he said, don't go out there undercover and do that because the things that you're telling me are too outrageous for you to risk yourself at doing that. So we sent it through the line, and it sent it through the chain of command, and it made it to you in February. And what I'd like to say is that we're not here today to talk about good cops. We're here to talk about the bad ones. I would love to speak to you in the language that they speak to the citizens, but I can't say those words because I've gone past that and I'm not doing a comedy routine today. But my notes here, I have a lot of buzzwords. Nassau County prides itself as being a sanctuary, but it's not a sanctuary for people who are victims of police terror and racial profiling under the guise of stop and frisk. Stop and frisk has been alive and well out here, and it has been found unconstitutional in New York City, but there's been nothing about it. And I've sent videotapes, we have testimonies of people who have been victimized by this behavior, and it's almost like the past laws in South Africa, where police hide their ID, they hide their badges, and they demand your ID. And this is not happening in a bubble. This is not happening to people who are just in the wrong neighborhood. This is happening to the same targeted people on a daily basis, whether they're on a skateboard, bicycle, a car, or walking. They are constantly accosted by police who have a certain racial hatred for the people they are paid to protect and serve. So they came to me because of my program and because I'm not afraid to speak out on their behalf. So some of them were here today, but they had to leave. I'm going to say their names. Archie Stallings, his mother's a nurse. She bought him a Mercedes-Benz, a BMW. He gets profiled weekly because he's not allowed to have that kind of a car. Marcy Brando, she was stopped and frisked, and that was almost like a strip search. So she was sexually harassed by officers. You had one officer holding someone's underwear up. He's been reprimanded for that. You have Cassina Atkinson. She helped police find a dog. They cursed her out and threatened to beat her up after this. We have Sarah Whitehouse, who was, the police said she sold them a kilo of cocaine and they gave her $60,000. She lost her business. She was found innocent. It never happened. But she spent $30,000. So we have Ronald Spaulding, who's profiled. We have a veteran, Charles Oliver, who was profiled. So we don't want to whitewash what's going on right now. People want justice, and a lot of them want vengeance. And what I can say to you today is that the people that I've seen, those people who started protesting after George Floyd, those weren't the church people. Those were the millennials. Those weren't people that you can give a job to and have come here and whitewash it. Those were people who don't believe in the Quran, the Torah, or the Bible. They're not forgiving. They don't turn the other cheek. You have a different generation. They want justice, and they want vengeance. Now, you can equate this to their behavior as a lot of innocent people over in Iraq. They were arrested, and they were taken to Abu Ghraib, and they were tortured, and they were a lot of innocent, but they became radicalized by that behavior. And then you formed ISIS. So we see these types of similarities here for people who are innocent. Nobody ever stopped the police from doing good work and getting the criminal. But when you lump people in, as all blacks are to be police, you guys got to get your heads out of the sand. Because you are on a powder keg, whether you want to believe it or not. Because people are not looking for support anymore. You see what's going on in the country. But we were here first, back in January, telling you that there's something going on here weird with the police. They're not policing. They're abusing their authority. They are operating with white supremacy that keeps white skin privilege, letting them know that they can kill people mistakenly without any accountability, with impunity. People are not going to tolerate that. People spend their lives investing in their children, growing them up. To have them taken away by a mistake and then no charges, these people are not going to be as forgiving as our grandparents were. So you guys are ahead of the curve, so to speak. We need to be able to take these police officers' qualified immunity away. We need to take their pensions away. We need to lock them up. You also need to have the ability to test them randomly for steroids, alcohol, cocaine, and marijuana. Because I have videotape of 30 years that I've caught officers doing things that weren't something that I would destroy their careers for. But what's going on today, it has to end. You are representatives of the state. The police are a state body. Whatever they do, you're sanctioning it. You've got to give people another reason to believe in people, police again. People can't consciously tell their children, if you have a problem, call the police. So they can mistakenly kill somebody. And then when COVID came, now you're telling the people who are being victimized with trauma and post-traumatic stress disorder from watching black people continually get murdered on TV. And you want me to tell our children, call a cop? You guys are at a point of singularity. There's no turning back. This is all happening on your guard. You guys have been here for years. I've been on TV for years. You all knew this day was coming. I have to speak for the people who are afraid to come to you and afraid of the police. Why are they afraid of the police? You've got to ask yourself these questions. The Office of Minority Affairs is a policing body for making sure the proper redistribution of our tax dollar. They have a policing body, which was their attorney, to go to the different divisions and make sure that we are being properly compensated for our tax dollar. We're not asking for no welfare. We are paying a disproportionate amount of tax dollars for bad service. And you guys know what's going on. We don't got to play semantics here. Because when I got to get out of my bed and leave my 11-month-old baby because somebody's at a gas station getting gas and the police pull up to wait for them to give them a ticket, again, this is a failed state. This is a failed state.
Thank you, Mr. Guilty. I'm just going to ask you to please wrap up. And there'll be an
I'm going to wrap up.
There'll be an opportunity for public comment as well at the
okay, what you need to do is hold these people accountable. Because all lives do matter, but nobody's killing police by mistake. Nobody's running up in their house killing their wife by mistake. Nobody's shooting an 8-year-old kid by mistake. Nobody's murdering police by mistake. So you guys have to act. There is a wave going on. And I'm a harbinger of bad news. I don't have no good news to tell you. But it's going to get worse if you fail to act. Protect your citizens. These are American citizens. How the hell can you have a sanctuary city and you can't protect the citizens? Come on. This is the worst witnessing of taxation with no representation. That's what this Office of Minority Affairs was created for, because we were being robbed of contracts, robbed of our rights. So you guys have a position here, because there's going to get to a point where there's nothing you're going to be able to do to fix this. And I just want you to understand, and this is no disrespect to religion, people are not turning the other cheek anymore. They're not calling for the Lord. They're going to do something, they're going to do it themselves. They're not going to wait for you.
Thank you, Chief.
Get some of this going. Anybody else want to speak? Anybody else want to speak?
Anybody got a gray Jeep parked outside?
And this,
SUV, excuse me. Gray Jeep.
at this time, we're past the deadline for